Hi, I'm Mandy Pryor, and I'm here with the Southwestern PA Business Podcast, hosted through Southwest Regional Chamber of Commerce. And we have an exciting episode for you here today. We're going to have Christopher Musuneggi of the Musuneggi Financial Group, and he's going to talk a little bit about personal finance and financial spending and wellness. So we're going to bring on Chris now and see what he has to say. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good, Mandy. Thanks for having me. This is
absolutely.
Really neat.
Yeah, have you done one of these before?
Not video, some audio stuff, but video on camera.
So you're
this is sort
new.
of, yeah,
so we're
first one here.
No nerves. You look completely relaxed. So anyway, I guess how did you get into the industry that you're in? Is what I'm gonna curveball you right away.
No, that's fine. So I actually went to Washington and Jefferson College for accounting, and while I was there, really enjoyed accounting, but there's parts of accounting like audit that's just not fun. Yeah. And so I always remember my senior year, our professor said, those of you who like this course are going to go on to be CPAs and work for the big accounting firms and blah, blah, blah. And those of you who don't, we'll find other career paths for. So I was one of those others. Fortunately for me, my mother had started in the financial services industry back in the early 80s. She was one of the first women in the city of Pittsburgh in the industry. And so I'd sort of grown up around financial planning, financial advising, things like that. And so had worked in the office, learned how to file and learned my ABCs doing it, as a small child. But during high school and things in the summer I'd work for. So I sort of got an idea of what the industry was and what the business was. And so as I was getting ready to graduate, we had a conversation and said, we'll try this for 1 year.
Sure.
1 year, can we work together? Well, it's now 26 years later, so I guess it worked.
That's good.
So we don't hate each other. We get along really well. I spend every day with my mom, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
So it's different than I think most people don't spend that much time with their parents, but I get the opportunity.
I'm around
to do
my
that,
mom
so.
all the time.
Yeah,
I love my mom.
So,
she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I got there. She got there because when I was about 9 months old, my father had passed away. And so she was looking for a job and went through a temp agency and was basically given an opportunity to work for a financial advisor in the city of Pittsburgh. And after about 9 months of working for him, basically decided that she needed to make a little bit more money because she wanted to buy a house for her and I. And so she figured if he was paying her, then he had to be making enough to pay her and have money left over. So she thought, hey, I'll try this. And her first year, she made less money than she was making as his assistant. But after that,
as first years come,
as
right?
first years happen in most any business when you're starting out. And so after that, she got up and running. And again, here we are, almost 45 years later for her. And things have seemed to work out. Good.
Well, that's great. I mean, I was just telling you a second ago that Excel sheets, not my game. I grew up with an artist mom who's a children's book author and teacher. And so we were not around, the financial industry. And I've been trying to gain experience ever since. So there's many ways to do financial wellness. And I have learned over the years. A lot of great articles and online obviously has really increased the industry. So what do you think, or tell me about the Musuneggi Group and who you work with.
So nowadays, beyond just the two of us, my wife, we were fortunate enough to convince her to leave the firm she was with about 12 years ago and bring her practice over to ours, so she joined us. And then we also have another 6 financial advisors, insurance advisors who work as part of our team, and then our wonderful staff. So we've grown quite a bit over these last 25 years. And so we're an independent firm, which we tell people is important because we're not beholden to any one company, one insurance company, investment company, anything like that. So it's our job to be as independent as possible when we're meeting with people to bring in the right solutions for their particular situation. So the types of people we work with, you could sort of paint it with a broad brush. We have clients who are in their 20s just getting started out. We have clients in their 80s who are doing legacy planning, and everything in between. We're not a firm that thinks that you can only work with us if you have a gazillion dollars.
What?
I know.
I have billions of dollars.
Well, come on down. Our philosophy is about fit. It's about working with people we like, people who are comfortable working with us, who we like to spend time with. We joke all the time. I have clients I've known longer than I've known my wife. So, and that's been 20 years. It's a long-term relationship we're putting together. And so in order to spend time with our clients and do what's necessary for them, we have to like them. We have to enjoy being around them. If we don't, then it's just not going to work out. So,
Sure.
So our clients are all over the place. We also like to say we sort of work with Main Street. So if you're walking down, go down to Carnegie or Canonsburg or any little town, you walk down the Main Street, all those people who own those businesses, we work with them. All the people who shop at those businesses, we work with them. So again, it's kind of a broad brush, but we like to have different types of people who come through the door.
Well, that's good. And I'm glad that you just don't have anybody walk through the door. And if it doesn't work together, obviously there's other people that they can work with. And so tell me a little bit about, financial wellness, financial advisory, what that is, in case people out there, they've heard it, it's around, but they don't really have a grasp on what it means.
Yeah, financial education, as I think we all know at this point, is not something they teach in school. I always try and think back to when I was in high school and I had one maybe semester or quarter that we talked about things like balancing a checkbook or something like that.
I remember that,
yeah. It wasn't, so there's not a lot of it. And so we're sent off into the world and everybody just expects that we're going to know how to do these things. And
Sure.
and it's not true. So we spend a lot of time just educating our clients. We do lots of workshops. We put on different seminars and things just to teach people, because our goal is that the more education we can provide to our clients, the better and more informed decisions they can make with their money. And so if that means that we're going to have a workshop on Social Security and what that means, or what it means to save for your child's education, or just getting started. We actually have an entire program called Starting Out and Starting Over for people who are just starting out or who have had something happen in their life where they're sort of starting over again. So,
Okay.
You have to understand that many people are afraid of financial things.
I 100% agree.
So yes, the English majors of the world don't like numbers.
No.
But it's not something scary. It's something to, like anything else, it's something to learn and something to, educate yourself on. And the more you become educated and the more you learn, the more comfortable you become with it. And so as we spend time with our clients educating them, we don't expect them to become experts, but we just want them to be comfortable and be willing to come in and share information with us and learn. And as long as they're willing to do that, they end up being better off because they understand things. And it makes the job that we do much easier because we can have better conversations.
Sure. And, I was an English major. And I will have to say that they did make me take Math 100 in college. 100. And I got an A. I mean, it was work, but I did get the A. But no, I didn't have, that was definitely not my concentration at all. I had a theater minor. I took an archaeology class and, the classes that you had to take. And so for a long time, it was intimidating. And it is intimidating to say, because when you think of financial planning or you think of investing your money, you immediately, if you're not in the know, if you're not in that industry, you think stock market, it's crazy. It's like you could lose your money, you could lose your shirt. So I think that what you're doing by educating people is so important, because once you're in there, and I'm more informed now as an adult, but once you're in there, it's less intimidating. And it is a great thing to learn, and how wonderfully it can benefit you. So what would you say to a person who is completely intimidated, doesn't even want to walk through the door with a financial advisor?
I would tell them to try and get over that fear. Spend some time, come in, whether it's somebody at our firm or other firms. There's a lot of great firms out there. But first and foremost, talk to somebody who is working with somebody. Get a referral to someone. Go in and meet with them. Spend a little bit of time getting educated. We've talked about things like TikTok and things. There's a lot of stuff out there. I'm not huge on TikTok because the things that are on there from a regulatory standpoint are always great.
Sure.
But there are a lot of videos out there. We have videos on our websites. There are other financial advisors we know have videos out there that talk about things. Just go and start to educate yourself. And start early. I've never had anybody come to me and say, I really wish I'd have waited. Because, but on the other side of it, we have lots of people who...
Maybe we should have started in our 20s. We'd be a lot farther along.
Yeah, and when you have somebody who's 50, 55 who comes in and says, yeah, I'd like to retire in 5 years, and we're like, well, you haven't done anything yet. That's a very hard conversation to have, but it's much easier to have with somebody in their 20s. And especially if you're coming out of college and you're in that sort of learning mode.
Sure.
It's just, think of it as just like another class you're going to take, just another way of something we need to learn, something we need to educate ourselves on, and take the time to just get started. You don't have to jump in with both feet right off the bat. You can sort of take your time and wade into the pool here. But the thing is to just start doing it, start to go through the process. And we recommend people start with just doing something as simple as figuring out your cash flow. Now, don't get afraid of the term cash flow. It's not that big of a deal. But I know, cash flow. That's an old accounting term too, yeah. But basically, all you're doing is saying, okay, how much money do we have coming in every month and how much is going out? And just think about that. Look at how much you're spending every month.
Yeah.
We do this exercise with all of our new clients, regardless of age. We make them sit down and go through that. One, because we want to know what they're spending money on, but not because I'm going to say, oh, you're having too many lattes. I don't care if you're having too many lattes. If that's important to you, that's okay.
Yeah.
But we find things like everybody. You've got 29 different apps you're paying 20 cents to and 50 cents to and $2.
There's a lot of little expenditures that add up
Tons.
a ton over time.
And it doesn't seem like much when you're looking at your credit card and it's $2. And it's, but if you're not, it's like I tell people, if you're paying for the gym membership and you're not really using the gym membership, cancel the gym membership. It's okay.
Oh, goodness. I'm so guilty. I have, I pay $10 a month. I'm at LA Fitness right now. I pay $10 a month during the summer because I don't go. I play volleyball, I'm busy. So then I pay $30 during the year. But I've been a LA Fitness member for like 20 years. So how much money have I put in? I've invested into LA Fitness.
Yes, you have.
But it's nice that I can freeze it for the most part. I still don't like paying during the summer, but.
And that's the same thing. If you're paying for 3 music apps, do you really need 3? I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you listen to that much music that you need multiple ones. Whatever they are. It's always interesting, though, because most people forget about things. The other thing it forces you to do is look at other things you're spending money on. I tell everybody once a year, I sit down, I call my cell phone company, I call my cable company.
That's big.
Call my car insurance, homeowners insurance, reach out to all of them. Chances are something has changed in your life. And even if it hasn't changed in your life, they have different programs available. So they can find discounts for you.
Some of the waste companies, they like to up those rates once a year, and you have to call to get it back down. You stay on top of them.
And if you don't ask, they're not going to call you. So it's a matter of looking and seeing what you're spending. Last year with my cable company, I wasn't able to save any money, but they said, well, you've been a customer for X number of years. How about we increase your internet speed? Okay, I'm not going to say no to that.
Yeah.
So I'm getting better service than what I was getting, same price. Okay, that's something.
Yeah.
And we've seen in the last 6 months, we've had 2 these are a little outside the norm. But we have one client who was able to save about $400 a month just by going through and making some changes. Another one that was over $600 a month.
I believe it.
That's a lot of money. And even if it's only $10 a month, that's still an extra $10 a month you can do something else with. So looking at your cash flow and just understanding what's coming in, what's going out, really is a great place to start, whether, again, you're working with a financial advisor or you just go online and you search out cash flow and you download an Excel spreadsheet to keep the information in.
Oh.
So I actually have an Excel spreadsheet where I list all my assets and my liabilities too, because I like to see the mortgage being paid off and my car being paid off. So it's just.
I have that kind of down at this point. I did download, it's a Ramsey app now. Mm-hmm. I forget what it's called, but that's helpful. And I was telling you that I was on TikTok. I'm not just looking at funny videos of different pets and animals. I also follow people who do tip of the day on Excel, because Excel, I'm self-taught, which means I don't know anything at all, is crazy expansive. There's so much you can do and so many little tricks, and so it's fun to keep up with that. Occasionally when you're already doing something and just scrolling, it's I learned something in the middle of my scrolling through funny Impractical Jokers videos.
But there's lots of free information out there. And so making sure they're reputable, again, is the first thing. But once you find those reputable sources, taking advantage of them. Even a lot of the banks will help out, and they've got information from cash flow standpoint. Again, you can go into your online banking, and some of them will break out for you. Okay, this was, again, no offense to those of you, I don't drink coffee, so the whole latte thing is lost on me. But you'll see how many times you went to a particular coffee shop, and it breaks it out for you, so you can actually see what you're spending money on. So I'm
pretty good. I spent a lot of money in my 20s at Dunkin' Donuts, but now I had a gift card yesterday, and I bought the biggest one. It was like $7, which I would never buy now. I'm like Maxwell House at home. I spent $7, I think, on a Frappuccino, but it was just that day. Like I was like, I need massive amounts of delicious coffee. That's good. Yeah. So occasionally now, I treat myself, but...
And that's the thing. Nobody's telling you to sacrifice everything.
Yes.
It's just, let's look at what we're doing and can we cut back somewhere here or there. And then, as you said, every so often, you reward yourself. You do something special.
Yeah.
And it actually makes doing that more special because you don't do it every single day. You do it on occasion. For some, we have a joke. My wife has run marathons and half marathons, and so the joke was always that when she would do like the Pittsburgh half, I'd end up doing a 10K just walking around town following her.
Trying to find her.
And so my reward for that was we would go to Permanis and I get a sandwich.
Yes.
so the only time I get Permanis is when my wife does a half marathon.
That's good. That's good.
So because I have to walk around and put on all my steps, and so that's my reward for walking all day long.
Well, and that's my McDonald's. So the only time I go to McDonald's is when I forget the last time I went to McDonald's. I'm like, wait, when was that? I don't remember. Today's the day. So there's all kinds of little things you can cut out and, live a more frugal life. I mean, in terms of lattes, if you think of, they're even more expensive than that now, but like $5 a day, that's like $150 a month. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a new cell phone after a year. Like, think of it that way, young people. You'll get a brand new cell phone every year if you don't drink coffee, expensive lattes.
Yeah, we just had that conversation with a client. She's single, and she has 7 televisions in her house. Whatever. Again, not here to criticize, but she pays for the little cable box for all 7 of them. Now, you cannot watch 7 TVs at the same time.
No.
So we did the math, and we figured out if she just went and bought some sort of, smart TV
smart
box,
device,
that are $20 or $30 each. After 6 months, the $40 a month she was paying for those boxes is all back in her pocket.
Yeah.
So that's an extra $40 a month to spend on. I would prefer
Put
she
it
save
into
it.
investing.
Yes, I would prefer she save it and invest
it.
But, again, it could be that one special thing you do each month, or you can put it towards something. So, again, it's just a matter of figuring out what you're doing, understanding what you're doing with your money. I use the word educate all the time, and I have some friends who think I'm a broken record for saying it, but unless you're educated, you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you don't make informed decisions. So that's the whole thing.
Sure. And so what is the experience when somebody comes to you for the first time?
So our experience, I think, is slightly different than other advisors I know. The first thing we do with everybody, and 98% of our people come from referrals, so they already sort of know who we are. But our very first thing is what we call a get acquainted call. So it's a 15, 20-minute phone call. Just us trying to understand why somebody has reached out, what they're looking for. Are the things they're looking for things we can do? Or are they calling because, if they're going into bankruptcy, or if there's some crisis thing that we're not the appropriate place for, then we can send them in the right direction. But assuming they're calling because they're just getting ready to do their financial planning, we want to figure that out. It also gives them and us an opportunity to, again, get to know each other a little bit and find out if we feel comfortable with one another. We can only take on so many clients a year in order to do a really good job for everybody. So as I mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that we're a good fit for one another. After that 20-minute phone call, if they and we feel that it makes sense to move forward, then we actually have them come into the office. Now, I know come into the office is an old-fashioned term these days. So
I'd like to go into the office.
I do too. I love being in my office. But we do virtual stuff, so we have clients all over the country. So it could be virtual, but we come in for a much longer meeting, usually hour and change. And that entire meeting is us asking questions and then sitting back and listening. Because we can't figure out the right strategies for somebody until we know what they're looking to do, what they're looking to accomplish. So we ask a lot of open-ended questions, trying to gather all that data from people, understand what their goals are, but also understand what their past has been. What has their experience been with money? There are people who have had really bad experiences with money in different ways. And so understanding where they're coming from, especially if they are coming to us from another financial institution, like, why did you do this? Why did you invest this way? Why did you make these choices? So that we can understand going forward how to structure what we're going to do. If they were good experiences, well, great, we can continue to do these types of things. If they were bad experiences, okay, why were they bad? What was it about the investment or program that you chose that you didn't like? And so that way, again, we can then sit back and say, okay, based on that, these are the types of strategies that might work for you. These are the investment strategies, the insurance strategies, these are the estate planning strategies, things like that that we can sort of bring to the table and then figure out how to implement all of these things. And if they need referred to an estate planning attorney, well, that's where we find that out. We give them the name of some estate planning attorneys that we know. If they need a CPA, we figure that out, get them to a CPA. So there's a lot of information gathering in that point so that we can just get to know everybody.
Great. Well, it sounds like a good plan to at least go in, have a conversation, talk about, your mindset when it comes to your finances. And you guys are wonderful. I mean, you've always been a great supporter of the Chamber. Our Impact for Women is always supported by you, which is great. Your wife and your mother always supporting us for that. So it's a good experience to have worked with you in the Chamber, which means you're good people, and we appreciate you supporting us, as we move forward. So how can they get in touch with you?
The easiest way to find out information about us is to visit our website. It's just mfgplanners.com. You go on there, you can find information about myself, Mary Grace, Christine, the other advisors who are part of our group. And as I said, there's videos and things on there so you can see what we do, how we do it, all the different pieces of what goes into the financial plan and how it might impact you. And then you can schedule I'm not the IT guy in the group either, so not my unique ability, but there's a way you can go on there and click on a link that takes you to an online calendar thingy that then you can schedule the Get Acquainted call with one of us. And
without having to call.
Without having to call,
that.
Yes. It's all the technology.
Yeah.
So you just go on there, you schedule it, it pops up on our calendar, we call you at that time and date, and things get rolling.
Good. Well, make sure you guys reach out there and reach out to the whole Musuneggi Financial Group. And thanks to Chris today for coming on the Southwestern PA Business Podcast. And don't be intimidated. Get your finances going and maybe even save a little bit of money. Mandy Pryor with Southwest Regional Chamber of Commerce.